Yes. So in last class, we were discussing about the taxonomy of functions, right? In C++. So we said in C++ we can classify the functions with respect to arguments, with respect to message passing mechanism into four kinds. One is call by value, call by reference, call by const reference, call by address. Okay. So we'll see. I'll take one example here in order to differentiate all these four kinds, and I will try to demonstrate all these four kinds with an example. Okay. Some of you are writing, don't use you know your pen here. So I hope the difference between the reference and the pointer is clear from the yesterday's discussion. Okay. So now I think we can probably take on the taxonomy of the functions with the help of the example. I'm taking swap example here. Okay, swapping of two numbers with the help of message passing mechanism. Okay, now let us try to demonstrate all these four functions, right? Swap 3, swap 2, swap 1. Okay, so swap 1, we'll try to first observe this function. Swap 1 is taking two arguments, A and B. These are normal variables, right? These are normal variables, right? So in order to call this function, what is that you have to pass? You have to pass the values to this variables. These variables are said to be what? These are said to be the formal variables. The variables defined are declared inside in the definition of the function. This is the function definition. We call this function. We call this as function definition. So these variables are declared during the function definition, right? So the variables which are declared during the function definition are said to be the formal variables. So for the formal variables, what is it you have to pass? You have to pass the actual values from the calling function, right? Which are said to be the actual arguments or actual variables that we probably see, right? When we are demonstrating the same. So in this function, what is happening? It is just swapping the two variables that are available as the formal arguments, right? So you have A and B are as the formal variables there. Right. So we have taken a temporary variable. So what is that we are doing? A, we wanted to put in P, and B, we have to, we are the other way around, interchanging the values of A and B here rather, right? So with the help of temporary variable. Got? Now, you can see in swap 2, these are the pointer variables. Why? Because they are declared preset with asterisk operator, right? So these are formal pointer variables, right? So for pointer variables, what do you need to pass? You need to pass the addresses, right? You need to pass the address because the pointers will be initialized only through the addresses. They will be assigned with only the addresses, right? Addresses of the arguments, right? So again here, what is that you are doing in this function as well? You are trying to swap the, values which are being pointed through this pointers A and B. We'll of course demonstrate it while we are executing it, right? So in swap 3, we can see these are said to be the reference variables. Yes or no? Why? Because the variables are declared with ampersand operators. So these kind of variables are said to be reference arguments. Fine. They will just act as an alias name to the actual ones, right? So when you call this function by passing the actual arguments, these are going to act as alias name to the same memory. That is the actual memories. And what is that you are doing here? Again, you are doing same thing. That is swapping off the values in the memories being referred through this AB, right? Okay. Coming to swap 4. In swap 4, we can see these arguments are said to be the reference argument, but then they are declared as constant, right? const is the constant keyword actually being used to declare the variables as constant, right? So This constant keyword you don't find in C, you have it in C++. So with the help of which you can probably declare a variable. The other way around, what happens is when you say a variable is a constant, the memory which is assigned for that particular variable will not be modified, right? It means the value once given to that particular memory will not be modified, right? That is the speciality of constant, right? So it will be fixed. Okay. So these are said to be constant reference arguments, I say. Why? Because these are reference because the variables are with ampersand, but then they are declared as constant, right? So here again in SAP4 also, what is it we are trying to do? We are trying to interchange the values that are being referred through this AB. Okay, we'll try to demonstrate this. So in order to demonstrate or to implement this, what is that we have to do? We have to call this a main function. Yes or no? So I am here writing the main function. I wanted to call swap2 as well. So before calling swap2, I wanted to display first the values of x and y, right? Okay. Now call swap4. Before calling swap4, I want to display first what is the status of x and y. Then I will call swap4, right? So I first wanted to show the status of x and y before swap4 is called. Now I am calling swap4. I'll call it in the next page. Calling swap4. Now swap4 is a constant reference, right? So for constant reference also, I need to just pass the actual argument. That's it, right? Now display the values of x and y. Show the status of x and y after swap4, right? After swap4 again, we are displaying x and y status. Okay, now let us try to execute this program. I hope all of you are able to see my screen, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Now let us try to execute this program. Execution always starts from main. So now you can see there are two variables x and y. So for x, 2 bytes of memory will be allocated because it is integer, and for y also 2 bytes of memory will be allocated. Enter two numbers x and y is going to be displayed once the cout statement is executed here, right? Cout, enter two numbers x and y, you said no? So that statement will be displayed on the console. Then the system is willing to accept two values, right? Because you have a cin statement immediately after that value, right? So let us take, you have accepted here 10 and 20, okay? So 10 will be inserted into x and 20 will be placed in y, okay? And 20, okay. Now the next statement that you have is before swap 1. Before swap 1, x equal to x value. Before swap 1, x equal to 10 will be displayed and y equal to 20 will be displayed, because that is what you have in x and y rather, right? Now the next statement that you have is to call this swap1 function, right? You can see you are calling the next statement to this is swap1 function to be called by passing x and y, right? So x and y are said to be the actual arguments, right? and this is a call by value function, right? Yes or no? This is called by value function because you have what? The formal variables. You can see swap one here. From here, the control where it goes to the swap one function by taking x and y values and will be placed into its respective formal arguments. Okay. Generally, the function mechanism you may have learned and see that basically the execution starts from main. This is your execution function, right? But then when you have another function call, swap one is another function call, right? So this function is said to be what? Called function, and main is said to be the calling function, right? So what happens now when a function is called, like swap one, the control will be transferred from the calling function to called function. Before that, the values that you are passing as arguments, these are the arguments that you are passing, they will be first passed and then the control will be transferred there. And once the execution done at the call function, the values will be returned. If any returning is there, then the control will be returned from the call function to the calling function. This is the mechanism behind when you are calling the function. So now what happens is the x and y values will be passed and the control will be transferred to this swap one function. So you go to swap one here, you go to, so what is there in x and y? You can see there are 10 and 20. So when you are passing x and y, the values of them are going to be passed here. So in A, what do you get now? You will get 10 here, and in B, you will get what? 20, right? So in formal arguments, these are said to be the formal argument. The formal arguments get the value from the actual arguments. Actual argument values for 10 and 20. Now you had a variable called temp. So for temp also memory will be allocated here of 2 bytes. Now these statements are going to be executed because the control is here, right? So temp equal to A. In temp, A value will be placed. A value is 10, so 10 is placed in temp. Then you say A equal to B. B is transferred into A. What is B? That is 20. 20 is placed in A. And temp is placed in B. What is temp? 10. 10 is placed in B, right? You can see the swapping is done on the local arguments. These AB are the local to this function. So swapping is done on home, the local arguments, right? So they are not reflected in the actual argument. So after you finish this execution, the execution is finished, right? So the control will be returned back to the calling function. So yeah, you will be returned back to the main function. So after you return back to the main function, where you will be the next statement to that, right? Rather, right? So in the next statement, what is that you have after swap one, you want to display the values of x and y. X and y, are they being changed here? No. X and y are the actual arguments. But what happens in call by value, the values are taken from the actual arguments and will be placed into the formal, and the changes are reflected only on the local arguments. They are not reflected on the actual argument. That's the reason why you can see x and y values are same, 10 and 20. So did you find any swap of this x and y? No. So when you display the x and y values using the statement after swap one, so what do you get? What do you get here in the output? After swap one, x equal to same as 10 only, because you can see x is 10 only, and y equal to 20 only, right? There is no swap at all, right? Because it's a call by value. In call by value, what happens? The execution will be done on the local arguments once it takes the values from the actual argument, right? They are not reflected on the actual, right? That is the difference you may have no observed. Now you can see what is going to happen when I am calling the call by address, right? See, after that, I have the next statement is before swap 2, x and y to be displayed. They are again 10, 20, which will be displayed in the output. So before swap 2, x equal to 10. Is x equal to 10, y equal to 20, right? Now you are calling swap 2. So while calling swap 2, what is that you're passing? You're passing addresses, because swap2 is a call by address function. It is having pointers as arguments, and pointers will take addresses. So you are passing x address and y address. What is the x address and y address? X address is 100, y address is 200. You can see, right? So they are being passed now to the formal pointers of call by address function, right? So now what happens for A is a pointer for whom what is going to be passed here? 100, yes or no? Address of x is passed. And for B, what is it passed? Address of y is passed, right? Now the control is transferred to the swap2. After the arguments are passed, then the control is transferred here to the call function. Then the execution of this call function will take place. You have a temporary variable. So for temporary variable, memory will be allocated. Okay. Now you see here temp equal to asterisk A. What happens? Asterisk A. Asterisk A means A pointed value. A is pointing to 100 location. So in 100 location, what is that you have? You have 10 value. Yes or no? 100 location, you have 10 value. So this value will be taken here. Okay. This value is taken here. Asterisk A equal to asterisk B. What do you mean by this? Asterisk B in the sense B pointed memory. The value at B pointed memory. B pointing to 200 location. In 200, what is that? You have 20. So that 20 is placed where A pointed memory. Where A is pointing? A is pointing to 100 location. Got it? So in 100 location, this, right? Here it will place this 20. Got it? Now the next statement that you have is asterisk B equal to temp. It means temp is what? 10. 10 is going to be placed in B pointed memory. Where the B pointed memory, that is B is pointing to 200 location. So in 200, location, that is here, it is going to place 10. That is temp value, right? Fine. So after that, it will come out because that was the last statement which has to be executed in the particular call by address. Okay. So after this, you will be returned to the main function. You will be returned to the main function. So in the main function, after the function call, the next statement that you have is the after swap2 x equal to and y equal to values have to be printed, right? So now after swap2, what is x value? 20 and y value is 10. Yes, sir. So you can see the swapping is done with call by address. Yes or no? Before swap2, it was 10 and 20 in x and y. But after swap2, x equal to 20, y equal to 10 means the swapping is done. Interchanging is done. Yes or no? Why? Why? Because, you know, they are acting on the actual memories, right? They are referring the actual memories, right? There was no interchange on the local, rather, right? They were referring the memories. Which memories they were referring? They were referring the calling function memories, right? They were referring the calling function memories, and on the calling function memories, the reflection is done, because of which you can see the swapping of the actual argument is done. Similarly, now we look at the call by reference. Okay, now let us look at the call by reference, right? That we have in swap3. So before swap3, x equal to and y equal to, when you print, what is that x and y values are here? Before swap3, x equal to 20 and y equal to 10. Yes or no? x equal to 20 and y equal to 10. I have refreshed it on the fresh page. So what is the next statement that you have? The function call, right? Swap 3 of x comma y. So for y are the actual argument transferred to that particular call by reference function. So now we can see what is going to happen here in the call by reference function. After once the control is here, a is acting as a reference to whom? X, right? But a memory will not be allocated. Is a just reference variable. Reference variable, as I said, memory will not be allocated. They just act as an alias name to the actual. So what is that you're passing to a? You're passing to a the x, right? So it is going to act as an alias name to x, right? A is just referring to you have now, that is 20, and B is referring to whom? Y. And what is that you have currently in Y? That is 10. Right now a temporary variable is created. So now you have some statements to execute to interchange the values of a and b. So a is placed in 10. A means what? X, right? And the 20 is placed in 10. A equal to b means b is placed in a. But what is b? B is referring to y. Y is what? 10. So that is placed in a. A is referring to x. In x it is going to be placed in x, right? Yes, sir. And next statement that you have is b equal to temp. It means temp value, that is 20. 20 is placed in what? Where? B. B is referring to whom? Y. Right? So in Y it is going to be placed, right? This 20. So once this is done, the control when transfers to the main function, you can see x and y will be interchanged with the values, right? X value will be 10 and y value will be 20 and y value will be 20 now, right? This will be 10 and you can see this will be 20. Now, where the next statement that you have is to print the status of x and y after swap 3, and after swap 3 x equal to, what is that you get? 10 and y equal to 20, right? Y equal to 20. Can you see the swapping of the numbers happened? Yes, right? Before swap 3 it was 20 10 in x and y, and after swap 3 it is 10 and 20. It means interchanging is done. So in reference also, what is happening actually, they are working on the actual arguments, right? Not on the local. In call by value, what is happening? On local it was happening because it was taking the values from the actual and then storing in its local variable. And what are the changes that are happening by address or call by reference? You may have seen that they are referring the actual arguments, right? So the changes that you do due to the instruction execution will be reflected only on the actual arguments, right? Because of which you can see the swapping of the actual argument is happened in both the cases rather, right? So you can see the call by address and call by reference, they are being used for the same kind of purpose, right? When you wanted to change the values of the actual arguments due to the instruction execution, you can probably go with the call by address, right? You can see, right? In call by address, you have pointers, but in call by reference, you have references. But both are being used for the same kind of purpose. Fine. And now let us look at the next one, that is call by constant reference, right? So you can see here, after once the swap 3 is done, before swap 4 values you are printing, then you are calling the swap 4, then you are printing after swap 4. So now before swap 4, what are the values of x and y? First we'll write here. X equal to what? 10 and y equal to what? 20. And now you are calling the swap4 function. So swap4 is also a reference kind, but it is a constant reference, right? So we can see the difference now, right? See, when you're passing, when you're calling the swap4 function, what is that you're passing here? You're just passing the actual argument. That is enough, right? Because they are reference arguments, right? Now the references, actual references are passed to the swap4 function, and the control will be transferred to swap4 function. Now you are in swap4 function, right? So in swap4 function, for A, what is the reference you have passed? X. And what is the value of X now? 10. And for B, what is the reference here? What is the actual reference that you have passed? It is Y. And what is its value now? 20, right? But both of them are constant, right? So as I told, constant memories will not be modified. Okay. So what is happening here when you are passing B to A is initialized with B. Sorry, when you're passing X to A here, X you are passing to A and Y you are passing to B, right? So when X is initialized means the memory of X is initialized to A. It means A is acting as an alias name to X. And Y when passed to B, the memory of Y is passed to B. So B is initialized with Y memory. So B is acting as an alias name to Y. Got it? Now, once the initialization is done, the values of that particular memories will not be modified if they are constant. So that you can see here difference when you execute the statement. So we'll execute the statement now. The control is transferred here, so we are trying to execute the statement. You have a temporary variable, so for temp, the 2 bytes of memory been allocated. Then you set temp equal to A. A, what do you mean by A? A is referring X, and in X you have 10. That 10 is placed in turn. So taking the values is possible. You can take the values, right? A equal to B when you say B is referring Y. Y memory is holding a value of 20. That 20 you want to place in A. This 20 you can take, but you cannot place in A. Why? A is constant here, right? A is constant. So 20 cannot be placed in A. And then you said B equal to 10. It means temp value. Temp value is 10. That you want to place in B. But temp value 10 you cannot place in B because B is constant again here, right? These memories are being constant here during the execution. During the execution of this function, these memories are constant only during the execution, right? Until A is acting as a alias name to this particular memory, right? Whereas when you go back to main, that memory is a free one. But during the execution of this step 4, what is happening? A is acting as a constant because A is declared as a constant. So, and the time of initialization of A, you have initialized the X memory. That memory has become constant here during the execution of the swap4, only during the execution. Okay, so these memories are constant. That's the reason why the reflection will not be done, right? Because this memory cannot be modified, right? So this 10 I cannot place in Y. Okay, so the statement does not execute, and this statement also does not execute. Got it? So after the execution is done, when you go back to the main function and you print the values of X and Y, you find no change because they are not modified. Got it? So after swap 4, if you display X, that is 10 only, and Y, it is 20 only. Got it? Right, this is the difference. So these are the 4 kind of functions we have while we are implementing it with the help of message passing mechanism. I hope this is clear. One is clear. Write a program to read the details of a student, such as roll number, name, marks of 5 subjects, then calculate total average of the same and display using structures and functions. So what is that you do? First you create a structure, okay, of student. Consisting of how many members? You have student roll number is integer, Then student marks, sorry, student name could be a string, right? So you can take character array of 20 characters length. Then marks of 5 subjects, so you can take an array of 5 subjects, m of 5 I said, right? And total is also integer. Then average is float, so you can take average as float. This is your student structure, right? So what do? You create a student, one student instance of the structure. How do you create an instance of the student structure? Struct student s, right? And then you can have a function to read the details like void read. Okay. So to the function you are passing the structure as an argument, right? So that is student structure as an argument, right? So here I can pass struct student or just say student as well, no issue. Okay. So I can use references as arguments, of course, right? Struct student reference argument I'm taking. This is the object reference I said, and using this object reference I can access the numbers and I can read the same, right? So cout, enter the student number name. How do you access? Ob dot student number, then you say ob dot student name, right? Then here, okay, so before that you can have a cout statement, enter 5 subject marks. Okay, you can use a for loop here. You can say cin ob dot marks is the array which you have taken into which you want to read the 5 subject marks, right? So m of I, okay, I will read like this, and then you want to calculate total and average, right? If it in the display function you can do there also, right? So this is your reading function, right? So in the read function you're taking object reference as an argument and reading the number and name here, ob.s number, ob.s name, and then you are reading the 5 subject marks. Okay, got it? Now you can have another function to display, calculate and display. Okay, void display, or you say calculate and display, clc cal display. I'm giving the name as cal display, that is it will calculate and display, right? This is also taking one
Yes,
no,
yes.
yes, tell me.
Will you explain in the compiler so
Student
we are not
references and
able
all.
to understand in the Jamboard, sir?
Yes, sir. Explain in compiler.
Your voice is your voice is not clear.
Explain in compiler, sir. We are not able to understand in Jamboard.
Yeah, write the same thing in compiler. You will able to just execute and get the
Yes,
output.
yes.
That's it,
No,
okay?
sir. What
You
you are
type it.
saying in the
You type
Jamboard
the
is
same what I have given. See, in compiler, this size of the letters are not that big one, because I have tried already. The larger size is very small. You could be able to see, but when I probably edit it in the video and upload in the YouTube, there I am unable to see the size is bigger one. So that's the reason I wanted to explain it in the whiteboard first. You type the same code in the compiler, you will be able to get the output for the same. Okay. You try it as part of the lab. You ask me the same. Okay. Initializing total value as 0. Then now I will try to find the sum of this array. How do I find the sum of the array? I have to use probably the for loop again. So before that, I wanted to display, let us say, student number and student name. So I wanted to display student number and name here. You can see ob dot s number and student name. Ob dot s name. Okay. Then find the total. So use a for loop here. For I equal to 0, I less than 5, I plus plus, ob dot total equal to ob dot total plus ob dot m of I. Okay. Then find the average. How do you find the average? Ob dot average is equal to ob dot total by 5. Then display this total average as well, right? So ob dot total and average. Equal to ob dot average. Okay. So this is the display function, right? And now in order to execute for one student, what is that I have to do? I have to create one student instance here, and the execution will always start from main and terminates from the main only, right? So void main. In main, I am creating one student instance, right? See, this is my student structure. Yes or no? This is my student structure. I've already created an instance. I can make use of the same instance, yes, of course, if I want, or else I can create another one in the main. It's up to me. So let us use the one which is already declared there. So I don't need this then, because already I have created there. That has become global, right? That S will become global. If I would have created inside the main, that would have become the local, right? So it's better to go with local, I think, rather, right? So I'll remove this from the global. I'll remove this from the global position. I'll create the instance of the student in the main itself, right? Which is going to be the local for the main function, right? So in the main function, I am creating one student instance here, with student variable s. Now I want to read. I just call the read function. Read of s. I am saying that's it, right? I want to calculate and display. I just call the calc display function by saying yes. Yes or no? See, this is what we give to the user, and we are able to hide the operational part from the user, right? So the operation of reading and display, calculation display is going to be done behind, rather, right? User will be given only this part, right, where he is just going to create an instance of student and just call the function read by passing that instance, and calc display is calling by passing the same instance, right? So what is going to happen here? Let's just look at the execution of the same. When you execute this main function, what happens is student structure is going to be created. For S, the memory will be allocated. How much memory is going to be allocated based on the members? You have S number, you have S name, right? And you have a marks array, right? Of 5 elements. Yes or no? And then you have total and average. Yes or no? So this all going to be allocated for only one single instance, that is S, right? So all these members of S going to be accessed through what? Through membership operator called dot, right? So now when I call read function, S is going to be passed. This is the actual argument, right? So this read function when is called, S is being passed to the formal argument of read, right? So in formal argument you have OB. So OB is referring to whom? S. For OB will not, for OB memory will not be allocated. Rather, it's going to just refer to S, right? So in S you have that, you may have seen. I've just now shown, right? So all those members are going to be here accessed through OB, right? When I say OB.S number, it is nothing but S.S number. When I read a number name for student, right, they are going to be read in S, right? So OB, when I'm saying OB.S number, OB.S name, it is nothing but S, because OB is an alias name to S, right? So when I say OB.S number, it's nothing but S.S number. When I say OB.S name, there is nothing but S.S name of main, right? So when the details are being read, you can see directly from that function, you are reading in the main. This is what the beauty of the reference arguments, right? So reference, see, in the function, read function scope is different. Main function scope is different. So the scope is nothing but, what do you mean by scope? Basically, the part of the text in which the text is accessible. See, S is declared in this particular block, right? So the scope of S is nothing but limited to this. But the memory of this is being accessed in the read function as well, with the help of the reference, right? Trying to access this particular memory and then reading into this rather, right? So you can see here 24 and let us say Jyoti, and let us say some marks are being read here, 50, 60, 70, 80, right? 90 and all kind of thing, right? They are being read. And then calc display function is also being called by passing the S. So the same S is being called, being passed here while calling the calc display. So a calc display function also is taking a reference argument. So this OB is referring to whom? The actual S, right? So when I say OB.S number, it is nothing but S.S number. If I say OB.S number, it is nothing but S.S number, right? So by being here in this particular scope of this calc display, it is trying to access the values or the, the otherwise I can say the memory of the other scope rather, right? See, S is being declared as a local to the main function, right? And you are trying to access the memory of S here in the calc display. How is it being possible? With the help of reference, right? So this reference is just acting as an alias to that memory, right? So when I just say here OB.S name, it is nothing but it is referring the S memory and then trying to access the value from that particular memory and then giving me here. Okay, so that is the beauty of the reference, right? So what is happening here now? It is calculating OB.total when you say S.total. So you have initialized total value initially with 0. You can see here, right? so that you can find the sum of that array, right? So you're finding the sum of the array with the help of this logic, and then calculating the average by dividing the total with 5 and then displaying the set. So what is happening here, when once the Kalsi display function is finished, you can find the sum of all this being available in total, whatever it could be, around 300 or whatever it may be, and then the average is going to be displayed, let us say 60 kind of thing, right? So this is all being done. So for one student, if I have to implement, instead of having the structure to be declared in my main and the entire logic required for reading the student details in the main, and then having the calculation of the sum of the array, sum of the marks array, and then calculating the total average of all such kind of thing, and then displaying, what I'll be doing, I will be doing this part of the code in different functions. The advantage of having the function is what? Reusability. Once you write, you can implement it for any number. That is what the beauty of the function reusability concept, right? If you have to do it for one student, of course you must be doing it by writing that code. But then if I have to do it for multiple number of students at multiple instances, then writing that entire code again and again is just of type of timing in front of the user, and the time and the number of lines of code is also going to be increased, all that, right? Advantage of having the function is what? The same memory will be utilized again and again, and the typing out of the programmer is reduced, the coding will be reduced, fine. Automatically the cost will be reduced, yes or no? So this is the advantage of having the function. So functions is providing us what? Actually the reusability concept, right? So in functions you can do only operations. Now extending these functions to the class by combining this both functions and structure into another concept is called what? The class, which I am going to teach you in the next class of C++, right? The class concept that you have in C has been inherited from these two concepts, structures and functions. Structures and functions are combined together, and we have produced one new concept called class, right? So you can see in structures, you will be having only the data, yes or no? You will be having only the data. But in class, in addition to the data, you will be having the functions. It means I'm combining the functions into the structure, and then I'm saying it as a class. So advantage of having the class is I can have entire thing in a single entity. Then I can just create an instance of it and then can implement the entire thing, right? That is what the advantage of having the classes, right? Is it clear to all of you? The class concept has come from where actually? Yes, is it clear to all of you?